The growing years. I think I stopped writing poetry when I met my ex-husband. We were like magnets, just snapping together with an elemental force that couldn't be denied. But that's all it was. And then, in moments, we were living together, and oops, I was pregnant. And when I looked at him, he looked down and said, I was thinking about getting married anyway. And that was it. That was all. I never got a proposal. It was hard being pregnant, with my hormones jumping around, up one minute, down the next, and my baby, my son, growing rounder. My husband said, "Aren't you getting a little too heavy?" I felt so ugly then, never beautiful like they say you are. My son was born, and the world focused down into such a love-filled moment of time. It soaked my soul with a rain of love that didn't seem to have an end or a beginning. But the marriage was ending. Before it had started, it seemed. I tried, really, to save it. I don't like failure. I would put my arms around his neck in the morning as he sat there, frowning into his coffee. I'd kiss his cheek and say, "I love you." It irritated him, so I said, "Beware the day I don't say it." Then there were bitter words and hot coffee poured on my back. He had a tongue like a razor blade, and he lacerated my heart and soul. He would go on and on and on until he knew, like a shark sensing blood. Then he'd turn his back. Oh yes, he knew. When I couldn't take it anymore, when the pain was too great, I would gently hammer it out like Morse code on his turned back. Then it was the time, the excuse needed to send me, tall woman that I was, across the room with a red ribbon flying from my nose. Physical to join hands with mental and emotional. Finally, though, the bright day came. It could have been raining, but it was so bright nonetheless. I moved me, my 2-year-old, my plants and my paintings, my books and my plates, away. It made me smile with grim satisfaction to think of him coming back to that place of pain and finding it all gone, except his old clothes and his record albums, the only things he brought with him when he moved in. I didn't start writing again, not for a long time, years still. My son took all my energy, took everything I had to give and more. And then there was working, and coming home so exhausted I should have been crawling, only to dredge up the energy to smile at my boy and help him learn to read, and read him Narnia tales in all the voices, so he'd love books all his days. But when he turned about 7, it was time, I thought, to go out and take a bite of life. He got cycled around to different loving relations every Friday because, well, that was my night. There was a denim skirt called Killer, and softly worn makeup, and a construction worker I knew in my favorite pub who looked at me with his arms akimbo and said, shaking his head, like I was a piece of chocolate cream pie. Oh yes, I felt beautiful, and I knew that inside I was. It was about that time I began to write again.